Okay, here we go. Okay, we're recording now, and great, Sandy, great to have you with me today. And my name's Benedick Howard. I've been creating sound and sacred geometry environments for decades. And out of the blue, Sandy pops in.
I did. I've only thought about it for 12 years, but I finally did it.
All right, all right. And so, you know, whatever the stars and everything came in alignment for you to take action on it. And, you know, initially I'm going like, I haven't built one of these. I mean, kind of like constant focusing on other stuff. And it was like a wonderful opportunity because I had been getting that it's time to bring this little guy out and use him more, which I have been actually in the last 3 months. Prior to that, I hadn't been using it basically at all. And suddenly this energy is coming together, and I'm so excited to have you on board now, Sandy. And I was wondering, share how you got involved. What is it that really sparked you to keep on thinking about this for 12 years?
Well, the first time I met the DreamWeaver, I was in a class, and it had to do with basically your central nervous system and how to repair that. And Linda Stalvey came in with the DreamWeaver, and we had several days of playing with it, building it, putting it together, and having our own personal experiences in it, as well as small groups. And I was the first person in the first group out of 5 to get in, or I was the third person in the first group to get in. And I was in the DreamWeaver. You know, time is elusive in there. So I don't know if it was 3 minutes. I don't know if it was 15 minutes. Right. But I was flying, and I was a gigantic bird. And I could see everything from above, like 100 times multiplied. I ended up going through crevice in a mountain, and I was shown a lot of interesting details about our Earth. And from that point on, I was hooked completely, because I realized how it can bring me more to myself and connect with spirit, and how much I can offer people and the world at large. And coincidentally, after I went into this DreamWeaver, nobody else could go in because it stopped working completely. It shut down. Linda could not fix it. I was not a very popular girl after that. And it felt so familiar, and it felt so right. Mm-hmm. So since then, I've been in the DreamWeaver probably 7, 8 more times within the classes, and also personal experience just between me and Linda with the DreamWeaver. And it just continues to amaze me. I always get exactly what I need. Always. And it might take me some time to incorporate that information, but I always receive what I need.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, like the last experience that you had with Linda, what were the needs, and what was the vision, or what was given to you?
Oh wow, that was quite a while ago. That was probably about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was my own personal session. I'm trying to recall.
So you were with her one-on-one, and she was initiating you into whatever the focus of that session was going to become. And then
right.
And then you'd move into,
and it's hard to remember.
Yeah, and then you move into the musical part of it, the musical massage, and the connection with the dodecahedron, the connection with spirit around you as the session proceeded.
Right.
And it's pretty awesome. And sometimes it's hard to remember what went on. I often
I think that session had to do with unity, unity of all creation and amongst people. But it had to do with what would we be as humans if we didn't have the things to worry about, the basic needs of survival to think about? What else can we do with our consciousness? What would we do?
Right.
If it wasn't a job, if it wasn't food, if it wasn't, oh my God, kids, all that stuff. What would we be living like?
Right.
I think it would take us to, an untold level of, I don't want to say necessarily enlightenment is not the word, but I think we would break through a crack in the egg.
You're right. It'd be
something that I think everybody wants on a very deep soul level.
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that stuff is like, we have an incredibly abundant universe and we're shut off from that. And you're saying, okay, give them free housing, give them free education, give them free food, give them the basic healthcare, give them all of that, that they take care, that we take care of an ownership of ourselves. What would we then go and create? What is
exactly?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Wow.
Yes.
So now you're entering in the new phase of taking on the responsibility and the ownership of a DreamWeaver yourself. And I'm very excited. And I bet you are too.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to give anybody who's like watching this later on, maybe, you have an extensive background in the healing arts, right?
Yes.
Maybe you'd like to fill in people how you feel it will integrate what you already know.
Well, I am a licensed massage therapist and have been so for, I don't know, 16, 17 years. After a while you lose track. It doesn't really matter. You do your what you do. I'm also a craniosacral therapist. And I do also participate in shamanic healing, which I was not trained formally in very much. I receive all my information through guides, spirit, whatever I'm told to do for a person, I do, which includes sound therapy, but that it's my voice.
Oh,
so I use my voice, and I believe it is, what we would call just probably light language of some type, because I do not understand what I'm saying, but I feel the meaning of it. So it's more like that, and I'm given the words, but I just know what I'm feeling, and I'm shown why I'm saying and or doing what I'm doing. And I get direct messages to give to the person after the session's over. I never interrupt the session. I'm also a certified aromatherapist, and I do channeled readings. So with the DreamWeaver, I'm not planning on doing massage therapy. It's a little bit of I'm not pulled to do that, but I want to leave the doorway open for a person to choose energy work. I'm also a Reiki master, or other types of energy work. Craniosacral, I think, is a great addition.
Right.
And obviously aromatherapy, goes right along with all of this. I believe, well, actually, I know that the shape of the dodecahedron will expand the whole experience and anchor it deeper into a person's physical body.
Right.
And that is an amazing, amazing thing. So it's like having 10 sessions of craniosacral in one.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to just jump in here because people might be wondering what you're talking about, and if they've not experienced the DreamWeaver or this type of vibrotactile musical massage environment, or correlation of the different sounds and notes and harmonics directly through the body, or directly through the flesh. And it's an extraordinary experience because it really finds the music or the notes and the energy finds its way to where there are blockages in the body. And so where there are tense spots, and this could be anywhere on the emotional, the physical, or the mental planes, right? Wherever there are blockages there from that direct connection that you're talking about, Sandy, is that the DreamWeaver or the music will find its way to just parabulate those areas and cause them to release. And it's quite extraordinary because when you compare it to massage, it's like a musical massage, and especially the lower notes. But it's not the tactile push, rolfing type of situation. It's more the gentle, like you're saying, the cranial work, where you're touching them with the pulses and you're moving those pulses and connecting in with those. The music greatly emphasizes that pulse in the spine too, as probably you've noticed.
Yes.
And so it's like this tool that somebody like Sandy, like yourself, can encompass their experiences and their technology, their healing techniques and practices, expertise into the DreamWeaver, and the DreamWeaver will facilitate and just nurture that whole process and make it actually a lot easier for you too. So I just wanted to jump in there.
Exactly. And what can take, for example, if a person comes in, lays down, and they're on the table receiving craniosacral therapy, depending on their stress level, it could take 30 to 40 minutes for them to really decompress, to be able to receive and engage with themselves.
Right.
In the DreamWeaver, I think, well, I know it will take a much shorter period of time. I mean, it's almost instantaneous. Like I said before, it's like there is no time or space inside the DreamWeaver. There's only time space. So what it does is it brings you into now.
Yes.
Very quickly, which is where all the healing happens.
Right. Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. You know, that was, you know, back in the day when I was dreaming literally up the DreamWeaver environment as a tool, which is what my prayer was, my invitation was, or my vision was. How can we use sound to really, in a different way, that would really facilitate us moving forward in terms of our consciousness? And in terms of consciousness movement, it became apparent to me that we've got to deal with the physical and the mental and emotional things down at this plane before we can get into those other realms, right? And
right.
So the DreamWeaver sessions for me, or as a facilitator then, and as a trainer for people, was more about doing that grunt work and doing the shamanic, beautiful experience as well, but being able to hold as a practitioner, as a facilitator for others, being able to hold that core you, despite all that else that's going on, and getting that stuff, your stuff, out of the way, so that that channel you and the DreamWeaver, the tool, and the sacred geometry of the form, and the vibrotactile musical massage aspect of that parabulation of sounds that's going through the body to happen. So I didn't know back in the day, right? I didn't know exactly what was going to be going on, right? It's just like, this is the thing that came to me, and this is what, in terms of a design and a piece of equipment, that's what came to me. Then it became, and as you well know, Sandy, then it became, how do you drive this? How do you, how do you get the maximum results? How do you incorporate this different thing? How do you work with this particular situation with somebody, right? And over the years, what I did was like support people in that process, training them as a facilitator, training them to become just to be able to drive. Yeah, that's what it is. To be able to drive the DreamWeaver like you would be able to drive a car, right? So that, you know,
right.
And we've got like EQ settings on there so that we can boost the bass loads or lower things down. We can adapt the sound from the top to the bottom of the frame, etc., etc. So there's different settings in there that we can all use to control the levels of energy that's being not forced, but being delivered to the body, right? That vibrational level, which is a very visceral note sound level of vibration, you know, in the lower frequencies, especially down to like 10, maybe a little lower hertz, but especially in that 10 to 20 to 100 hertz, there's a lot of movement that happens in the body because of those frequencies and the way that they connect with, and their wavelengths are similar to like the longer bones or the smaller organs, or so the higher notes will go to the smaller bones and longer notes will go to the lower notes will go to the longer bones, sort of a thing, right? So we get this resonance, this coupling resonance between the music that's being played and the chords and the scales that are being played as the structure and the foundation of that music with its melody on top. That becomes part of that experience. So when you're in this, and giving people an idea of how quick this can be, back when I was traveling with the DreamWeaver and setting it up in different places around the country and in Canada and also in Europe, at one stage we had some Tibetan monks who were long-term, they were monks from Tibet, and they came through for sessions with me, right? And they were amazed. They said afterwards they got to, in like 5-10 minutes, they got to places that would take them an hour to get to in their normal meditation. And, you know, and so maybe you're asking, what type of music do you play? We'll get to that, it's another topic. But the problem, the situation is that when you're in there, like Sandy's saying, time disappears and it kind of melts. And then everything, so the focus of that session and the direction that you're taking that session really helps to facilitate that growth for oneself or for whoever you're working with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And I think there's so much that can be learned and tried and done with the DreamWeaver. Things that I think we haven't even explored yet.
Right. And that's what it's all about. It's that discovery of, you know, I'm not stupid enough to say it's got to be my way, right? But it's just the discovery of what are those potentials, and every facilitator and every session brings in that discovery, as you will know from session to session with your massage clients. And then progressions of sessions. I did a lot of session progressions. In other words, I was working with clients in London back in 02, I think it was, 03, and we did multiple sessions, and we recorded their personal data and graphed it all out over like 10, 12 seconds. And wow, it's kind of interesting, and you'll have actually access to that material and those graphs, and we'll be discussing those in the training, because it really does map out how as the onion peels, right? You know, as the body lets go of these outer shells of control and restriction and being shut off from that abundance, as we let go of that and enter more into that now time, then of course things really shift, and getting people to that place really quickly is what the DreamWeaver does, really eloquent. Yes. And yes. So another thing we'll be discussing in the training, of course, is what types of music, right? And right. And there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no restrictions on what types of music, because I don't know what you're going to discover. But I do know, obviously. Right. Yeah, carry on.
I do actually. May I ask a question about music? It's a quick one, a short one.
I can't guarantee it'll be a short answer.
Okay, it'll be a short question. Okay, so I'm sure you've heard of the Monroe Institute.
Yes.
Hemisync.
Of course.
Hemisync is basically, you know, the
brainwave entrainment.
Yes.
Brainwave entrainment. Yes.
Is that something that is potentially the type of music that could be played in the DreamWeaver?
Yeah, totally. If you want to create that type of controlled state.
Okay, I got you. Right? I understand.
Because it's entrained. The music's it's designed to be entrained to whatever frequency or progression of frequencies in order to map out different areas in the body, right? Or in the brain. And so, you know, definitely that's an experiment to do. Personally, for me, I don't use it. I go for more random stuff, and or not really random, but it is. I don't try to control. I don't try to use the music to control their experience. I want to use the music to support the experience.
It's open-ended.
Yeah, because that way you're allowing more. Exactly. That way you're allowing more possibilities to permeate through.
Right.
And
I got that.
Yeah.
It was just a question.
No, well, no, totally good. So the other thing we're going to be covering in the training is the marketing, and this is something that I've become really proficient at, and very knowledgeable at too. And so I wanted to bring that those skill sets to the table for you too.
Okay.
And I know that we had discussed this in our previous conversation. Apparently, that recording didn't happen. I thought it did.
Oops.
I will check. But it's also, you know, having you as the facilitator, you as the person who's going to be driving this vehicle, right? Really clear on who it is and what it is that they want to create. And of course, you've already told us that in the beginning of this video here. You've already told us that you have this vision of bringing people to a higher place. So
yes,
and to get them connected with the abundance with the universe rather than the negativities, right? And and so it's all, everything now is, because we're dealing with such an instrument, which is the DreamWeaver, or it's like an instrument, like playing an instrument. But the fact that the geometry really communicates specifically through the let me just see if I can bring this up so people can see it better. That's the dodecahedron. All is revealed now.
Yes.
So that's the frame. That's actually a gold-plated frame of the DreamWeaver there. Let me tuck this out of the way. And the top speakers above, and the vibroacoustics or the musical massage is in the bed there. Now, because that frame has specific numerical geometry relationship to the way that universes are constructed and held together, the way that thought and love is all held together through these specific shapes. All of these, this has a way of tuning into it. So what we can do for the marketing, and this is really exciting for me, what we can do, because the clearer you can get on what you want as the big result for this adventure with you and the DreamWeaver, the clearer we can be about getting you the right people to begin with. And so we went through my website and some of the wording on that last time, and I gave you permission to use it and, you know, make it in your own words, but sometimes you can't. I understand that. And I'll take it as a pat on my back that you're copying me. That the that the relationship that now is the really important one. It's before you get the reunit. It's like tell me, where have you got in that, in creating that picture?
Okay, well, I just want to preface it by, my life has been pretty crazy.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, I'm sitting here with you and there's a kidney stone passing through. So it's been intense. Yes. Wow. Oh yeah, it's been an intense kind of 2 weeks. But this is what I came up with. And I know that I still have to keep working at this, but this is what I was able to get on paper. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. The DreamWeaver is here to assist with your personal reorganization of health, connection to your soul path, and regaining of your truth through finding and reclaiming your personal power and connection to source, from which all roads of dreams, joy, health, and knowing manifest. this can change your life and you in it, as well as our world.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I did that in 5 minutes.
That's
It must have been percolating in my body.
okay. So now we need to look at who's going to be interested in that, right?
I would like to say everyone, but we know that's not true.
And it's true that you don't want to be working with everyone, right?
Right.
And because most of them will just slow you down. So it's really working
You're right.
with the bright sparks that are already on this path and just need a little tweaking, tuning. And so we now need to discover those people that would be candidates, prospects for your vision statement there. And I'm sure you're looking at that yourself. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I have all kinds of different clients that range in age, issues, wants, needs. But one of the things I've noticed is that there are so many people that they are so close to actually seeing what their potential and how it can manifest, but they just need to cross over between old belief structures and trusting that they can get to the new ones. That's a big deal. That's such a big deal. And a lot of people who really, their health stands in the way between them living their true life purpose. But I will say, this is my personal belief and experience, is that a lot of times the health quotient, when it's not good, it is usually someone preventing themselves from really being as big as they are. There's some kind of kickback from the personality, not at the soul level, but at personality.
Right.
Fear, basically.
Yeah. Right. Armoring. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. So where would you find those folks?
Well, they come to my practice, but also I do have seen people that are searching, obviously, in like metaphysical fairs, like around here there's PharmaFest, Festival of Lights, Pathways, and a bunch of others. Some are just there for entertainment, but there's some that are truly are searching.
Right.
Also tapping into like Unity and Universalist churches sometimes there's people there that are also searching as well, but they don't want to be stuck in a religious dogma so much. They want it to be also much more open-ended. Therefore, they themselves are much more open-ended.
Right.
To searching.
Great.
So
with the clients that you have, the existing client base that you have that do match that criteria, how many people would you say you have?
It's honestly not as much as I would like, but I'm going to say, I would probably say a good 10 to 12 people.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, what you need to do with those 10, 12 people is you need to find the commonalities between them, right? And you've already written about that, but really from their perspective, what is it that turns them on? What is it that they do? Where do they hang out? What movies do they see? What magazines do they read? What workshops do they go to? Etc. Right? You need to, like a hunter, you need to know your target, right? And you need to know their behaviors, and so that you know where to find them, right? And how to language to them. And
yes.
And so if you've got 10 people already, you've got a great database, you've got a great base of understanding that through, and then sculpt out of that, a broad avatar of that description of those 10. Or maybe you're going to modify it slowly, because you're going to see, when you start to look at them, you're going to see that person I really like working with, and that person for whatever reasons, and mark those down, didn't work right for me, for yourself as
Right.
so because when you write the copy, which is, you know, the copywriting process on there, you want to have like little disclaimers that if you are such and such, maybe this isn't for you, right? So that you can disqualify those folks that have a trait that you don't want to work with. Could be alcohol,
Okay.
right, as a big one, you know,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you're going more with the consciousness people that, you know, don't have those base addictions, but they
Yes.
still have their addictions. We all do, right? And
Right.
so yeah, just get clarity on that so that when we can speak next time, because you're putting this energy out there.
Clarity on people I want to work with.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
Great.
So can I ask some questions?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Let's just do 5 minutes.
5 minutes of questions. Okay. Okay. So you said to me last time that my husband probably could build me the base for the DreamWeaver, and it's just the wooden box. Does it? But from my understanding, it's not a good idea to take like jewelry of any kind inside the DreamWeaver. So can the box have nails or not?
What I was doing, I was actually, when I was building them, I was using gold-plated screws in the, yeah, but you know, I'm sure he doesn't want to go to that. No, you can use whatever to hold it together. Yeah, preferably glue and whatever fasteners you need to fasten it with. That's not going to affect it.
It's not.
No.
Okay. Just making sure, you know. The other thing is, what's the heaviest person that can go on a musical massage bed? Is there like a weight limit?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The problem being is that the very heavy, big people, it's difficult to get them down there and through the frame and in there.
Right.
So this is something that maybe you want to qualify yourself on too. This would be another, you know, reason why you don't want to work with that group of people.
Because I have like two very, very large people. One is a guy, and he's a big guy anyway, but then there's weight on top of it. Yeah.
You know, if they're more than 250 pounds, they're going to have difficulty getting in them.
Okay. That's good. I need a round number. Perfect.
Yeah, I'd say
okay.
200 pounds and over, you're going to be questionable. Just because it's physically, they don't move so good.
Right. Right. Okay. I think those, I mean, I have some others, but those were kind of like in the forefront of my mind.
Right.
So, okay.
So to save you, this is where it's really critical. Getting clarity on your avatar, on your prospect avatar, will help us really focus on that. Because I would recommend that you don't work with the heavyweights. Not at the beginning. They are a lot more work, and you know, you've got healing crisis stuff coming up. It's, you know. Now, if there's somebody that does match every criteria, then use it as an experiment, right?
Well, if they can get in, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because you can't get in, you can't get in.
Right, because there's people here, like, in order to get into the DreamWeaver, you have to come in and sort of slide in or crawl in and then lie down on your back right up in the top here. And so your feet will be down here. And what we're saying is the problem is getting them through this sides of the form that the chair is in the way. Let me get that out of the way. Here we go, much better. So we've got to get them through this pentagon here, this hole. This I can't do it that way. Anyway, that face there, you crawl in. Actually, why don't I demonstrate it? So
And that was easy for Benedick. He just slid right in. Look at that. And slid right out.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I've been under the car all morning, and it's no wonder, right? Yeah. So that's
Good job.
Yeah. Thank you. Woo! And so yeah. Anything else then?
I mean, that was it. So my avatar is going to be created. It's going to have the needs and wants of the majority of people that I want to work with and whom I want to work with, my own needs and wants.
Right. And where
Right.
they hang.
And what?
And where they hang out. Oh. So what are they doing with their time? What are their hobbies? Right?
Well, the people that I've mentioned, yeah. You know what? What I find is a lot of people are, I'm working, I'm chasing my tail, I'm working. It's such a sad, what kind of a life is that for any of us, Well, especially in the metropolitan area, the energy is so tightly knotted, you can feel it.
Right, right. Oh, one thing before we finish off, did you? I'm not sure if where we went with last time on this, but did you get a chance to look at the Wellness Ninja Manifesto?
A little bit,
Okay.
tiny bit. I'm gonna do that this time.
Okay, why I'm asking you to take a look at that, Sandy, is because it really does detail that manifestation process and how you're going to structure it for clients.
Structure, manifestation process.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
And it's this traditional Napoleon Hill type of stuff, right? Think and grow rich type of a thing, but it really details what it is for you as the facilitator, bringing those clients in.
Right. How I help them structure that.
Right. And how they can help themselves structure it. Because that,
right. It's a two-way.
It has a,
right.
There's a multiple structuring processes that are wrote in there into the manifesto.
Okay. Okay. I will definitely do that. And still working on my avatar. The avatar is a hard kind of creature.
It's
to
not
put together.
It's not easy. It is not easy. I couldn't agree with you more. When I've been creating avatars earlier on in the business, I would rather fall asleep at the computer than deal with it,
It's kind of intense because it's almost like you got it, but yet it's a little bit elusive. It's hard to, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and it brings up all of one's own issues, abundance issues, setting boundaries issues, all of those sort of things. Right. Yeah, it's difficult. So I think the manifesto will help you to distance from that process.
Okay. Okay. Right. So that I'm a lot more centered with it.
Right.
Okay.
So just
what did you think? What did you think about my vision statement?
I loved it. I want to see it in writing.
It is in writing.
Okay. I want to see it. Hold it up. No.
It's messy. It's here though.
Excellent.
But I will rewrite it.
Yeah. Write that up, because that's going to be a foundation to your whole thing that you're setting up, this whole manifestation process that you're setting up here. So yeah, definitely.
And this is my thing. I do like it. It's just I hope the avatar goes smoothly. Yeah. It's actually I will say it's been producing anxiety for me, the avatar.
Yep. And that's what we got to cut through, because that's going to be the restriction on your
exactly
expansion on your dream. And so that's what I'm going to be here for, the training with you, to really support you in doing that inner work. So knock one out.
Can I say one more thing?
Knock one out, knock an avatar out. Don't expect it to be the final one.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Right?
But it's just about listing what it is, who I'll be working with, and what I who I want to be working with.
Right.
Right.
And is it even a reality? You know, is it even possible? Right. Do we need to modify that slightly so we can bring in some other people? Do we need to focus on,
Right.
do we need to focus on personal development? Do we need to focus on core issues that that avatar has in the languaging? And
Right.
so we'll see. Once you've got that avatar tuned up and you know that there's a bunch of them out there that you can connect into,
Right.
then
Well, I have a feeling it's going to be several. It's not going to be just one.
you need to
No, you think it should be?
Yeah, just one. I tell you why. Because that is your avatar you really want to work with. Now, there are going to be others that 90%, 80%, 75% fit that you will embrace. But really, you want to be super clear on who it is that you want to work at. And
Okay, I got it.
Right? Because it's
I understand what you're saying.
Spirit can deliver to you then.
Right, exactly. It's the clarity piece of it. It's the intent. It's the setting of intention that I have to do as a facilitator.
Right.
Yes. Got to walk it before
Let's close
you do
out
it.
here on the recording. I want to close out here on the recording. We're going to set up another time off out of this recording.
Okay. But I want to ask you one more thing. Can I?
Well, we had.
Well, you can stop the recording.
We had 15 minutes of questions. I said I'd give you 5. Okay. No, right. So write your questions down. What we need to do is set a time for when we're going to meet together. So let's discuss that off the recording.